In this video we're just going to quickly set up our DJI Mini 3 Pro for the first time. So we're just switching on the smart controller for the first time, and to do it it's one press down and then again, and you'll see the lights start to power up. If you do it once, it'll give you a power indication of how charged the controller is. If you do it once and then again, it will power the controller on, and you can see we're just starting up. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is in the back we've got our sticks, and we'll go to the back and grab those and then just bring them around the front. And obviously it's self-explanatory, they just screw on, so we'll just quickly do that. Okay, so we've got our sticks on, and then on the screen, let me just bring the brightness down ever so slightly, and then you should be able to see the screen a bit better. There we go. Okay, so the first thing is just to select the country we want. So what we're going to do is just touch on the touchpad so we can just sort of scroll up and down, and for me I want English, so I'll just tap that on, hit next, and then the terms of use, we're going to agree to that, and then the country and region for me is United Kingdom, so we're just going to click on that. By default it's US, so just make sure if you're in the United Kingdom you're clicking on the right one there. And then we're going to have to jump onto a Wi-Fi network. So for this obviously you need your Wi-Fi password and all of that, so I'm going to jump onto my Wi-Fi network from here, go into there, and I'm just going to quickly enter in the password. Okay, so the password's in, and we're just going to hit OK, and that should connect us up to our Wi-Fi. Okay, that gives us the tick, so that is happy, so we can hit next. And then the time zone, the default one here is Beijing, so we want to change that to, for me it will be, I would imagine London or Greenwich Mean Time. Where are we? Sorry, I've scrolled completely the wrong way. I need to be going up. That's me, London, Dublin. So just make sure you've got the right time zone in there. Okay, and then it says in there, make sure it's set correctly, because an incorrect time zone may prevent the activation. So just obviously make sure that's right, and if you put it in wrong, it's not going to be any good anyway, because all your footage will have all the wrong information in the metadata. So I'm just going to log in now to my DJI account. If you don't have one, now is the time to get one set up. Most people should have one. I suppose it depends if you've bought through them directly before. So I'm just using my account that I used to buy through them directly. And then once you've got that, you should be able to just log in. So I've got successful login on my account, and then I'm just going to hit activate. And for now I'm not going to join the improvement program, I'm just going to give that a miss for this one. Okay, and now we're into the sort of welcome screen and the getting connected, so we hit start. Okay, and then this is just telling us how to use it, so swiping back and forth to sort of go between bits, so we can look through it. We've got the camera zoom, it's saying we've got the gimbal tilt, and that's these wheels on the back here. Obviously, you can read through this, but it's all about just sort of practicing and working on it. These ones self-explanatory. Photo, record. You can see those ones on the top. You can see it says do like a half press for autofocus, and then for video it's just a simple press it for record. And then it's all about the we've got about the flight modes here. So we've got Cine, normal, sport, and then we've got the return to home and brake on there as well. So and we've got our customizable buttons on the back. Again, this is all stuff we can kind of get to after. The importance of the lights there with if the aircraft's connected or not connected. We're not connected to it at the moment because the light's red. And if a firmware update's failed, which is important because you don't want to be flying with incomplete firmware. And then we've got the status indicators, so linking with aircraft, low battery, control sticks are not centered, and the temperature or the battery level sort of issues. Right, so once we get to the end of this, we want to go to DJI Fly, which is the app that we're going to be using to connect to our drone. So it's just initializing the resources for that. We're connected to the Wi-Fi now, so things like firmware updates, they can be done directly through this device because it's connected to the Wi-Fi. It can download things. Generally, the first thing you'll want to do with anything like this is get the firmware updates done. Sorry, it's quite loud. Okay, I'm just going to skip that. Yeah, so the first thing you'll want to do really is look for those firmware updates. So yeah, if we have that information on, and then I'm not going to join that program just for now. And then that's the Academy up in the corner, which for now we will leave, but that will be quite useful. And we'll hit OK, and then if we come down into the corner, we'll go into the connection guide. And then we basically want to get our aircraft connected. So unfold the arms of the drone, which we've done, and slide the battery into the compartment. We can just quickly run through that if you sort of don't know how to do it. So these are our back ones here, so they just slide forward. These ones are kind of more of a twist, so the ones on the front, they sort of fold down, so kind of like that. And the battery on the back, so it's probably easiest with the battery. Get the arms folded out first, so like I say, these ones will come out that way, and then you've got the back ones fold out like that. And then the battery is, you pinch both sides of it to sort of put it in and release it. So I've already got the battery in, but make sure that you've taken this out, given it a full charge. Don't just put it in the way you've got the drone. Make sure it's charged up. Right, so we've got full battery in here. This has already been charged. So we've done those bits. We've put the battery in, and then we short press the power button on the aircraft. And if you sort of don't know, that's that one there. So if we do that, and then it's press it once and then press it again, long press. So you can see we've got full battery. Actually, you probably can't. We've got full battery there. One press, and then press again, and then it powers up. And you can see it switching itself on, and the gimbal's locked into place. Okay, so we've just done that, and then it looks like we've achieved connection up there. So we should have coming up now. Okay, so now you can just see my hands. So we'll turn that around. Okay, and then we can agree to that, activate that. And then the next thing we're going to do is take a look and see if there's any firmware updates that we can do. Okay, so we've got care refresh. I actually do have care refresh for this, so I can go in and I can activate that, which I'm going to do. and then that's been completed. Care refresh, I'm not 100% actually if you can get it through third parties, but I always buy directly through DJI, so I get the care refresh with it, and that's attached itself. Okay, so here we go. It's given us the firmware update now, which is great. So always install these, because basically the units always get shipped, and then there's always firmware updates coming out as the drones are released. So usually by the time they're in people's hands, there's updates there. So just make sure you're doing these. As long as you're attached to a half decent internet connection, these should be done within a couple of minutes. It has to download it to the controller first, because the controller is the thing that's connected to our Wi-Fi, and then the controller will be sending the firmware update to the drone. So it's got to come to this first, and then it syncs up. So we've just got to wait for this to download. It's kind of getting there. It's quite a big update. You can see the amount of things that are actually on here. There's actually a lot of stuff that's been added to this. You can see there's like the true vertical shooting, focus track's been added, updates to APAS, which is the obstacle avoidance system that it uses, hyperlapse, new master shots, quick transfer, new video mode, which is great, additional slow motion. Yeah, there's a lot of things in there. I'll probably speed the video up at this point, just so you don't have to watch the the firmware downloading. Okay, so once we're at this point now, it's still installing, but you'll probably have noticed that the sort of lights on the top have gone through various states. So it's gone from connecting to the drone switched itself off, so it would lose connection, reboot again, so it'd be searching for it, and then it will come back again. So you know, this has probably changed a few times since you've got to this point, and the drone has probably made the switching on noise as well. So it's essentially just installing the software, doing all the necessary reboots that it needs to do. So just give it the time until it gets to the end. Always with this kind of thing, just make sure that you don't turn the controller off, you don't turn the drone off, just leave everything running as it is. You just have to be patient with it. It looks like the controller now is going to reboot itself as well. So the drone, like I say, has already rebooted itself, and now the handset's just about to reboot itself. So we've got the system update there. And again, I'll fast forward this a little bit because this probably will take a little bit of time. So, and you don't need to watch it in real time. just be patient with it. Okay, so that's just installed itself, and now we're on the second reboot of the controller, and this should be our last one now. It should switch itself on, and it should bring us into the Fly app, and we should be ready to go. Let's just wait for it to restart itself. Now, before we're ready to go, you can see it's disconnected again. The drone will likely make the switching on sound. There we go. And then we're connected again, so we should be pretty close now. Like I say, it's important that you do these updates because they just give you all the latest things, and they just make sure that the drone is up to date. With a new drone, I mean this has only been released sort of not very long, so there's potential for there to be bugs and things in it, so they get ironed out in this. Okay, so we've been asked if we want to do the feedback. We don't right now because you don't want to watch me do that. So let's get out of that, and there we are, back in the app. Okay, so by this point the drone has fully updated itself, and we've got to the point where the controller switched itself back on just into the DJI Fly app. What you'll notice though up here, the light's red, so we're disconnected from the drone, and that's just because the drone hasn't switched itself back on. So you can see the lights on the drone off. So remember that the way we turn it back on is just sort of like one press just to see the battery, check that it's got a nice fully charged battery, 1, 2, and hold it on the second one, and then those props will just move a bit, so just make sure it's clear. It'll make that noise, and then we should get a connection. There we go. And then the app will give us the option to jump into the drone. Here we go. It's the only drone I've got, so it just connects itself, and you can see there we've got the screen. So okay, and then we've got a message up here saying aircraft. Oh, I did say about something to do with firmware, so we'll try and take a look at that. So if we go up into here, and then we go to about, so I'll do that again, sorry, just so you know. So the 3 dots up in the corner of the menu, and then the about is like the last menu. So here you can name your drone whatever you like. So if we look for the aircraft firmware, if we hit check for updates there, okay, we're up to date. Hit okay, there's a new FlySafe database available. Okay, so we'll grab that. This shouldn't take as long as the the updates on the drone. The ones for the drone take a lot longer than this. So this is just information on fly zones, and they may not be relative to where you're actually flying, but it's useful to just have that up to date. So you know, if you should really be checking where you're flying before you go out, using something like Drone Safe Map, or there's quite a lot of different ones. No Fly Drones, those kinds of sites. I could link to some of those below. But basically, you know, if you're about to take off somewhere that it's maybe like regulated airspace, or it's a no-fly zone for maybe military reasons, or you know, there's lots of different reasons why you can't fly in certain places. Obviously, airports being the biggest one. This will kind of flag it up to you and tell you that you're, you know, you're in an area that you shouldn't be flying in. So it's worth updating it, because with any drone flight, you know, the liability is on you. Just because you don't update this and it doesn't tell you, it doesn't mean that you're not sort of liable. So just make sure you're doing your research and things before you're flying in certain places. Okay, so that update's happen now, and then we'll just wait for that to happen. You can see down the side, actually, it tells you about like local regulations and geozones. So I think actually we can just jump out of that now. So if we hit the cross up in the corner, and then what we're going to do is jump into Go Fly again, and that'll take us back to our camera. And then we're just going to do one last double check up in the corner, go into About, and just check we've got nothing else there to get. So Drone Safe database is up to date, our firmware for that's up to date. We can look into the other menus and just check what we've got there. RC firmware, firmware. Looks like we're looking alright. And then let's just quickly have a look at the modes we've got in there. We won't go through all of these modes at the moment, but there are a couple in there that you know, are useful for you to change. So let's say here I'm in the UK, so I'm going to be using metric. So if I jump into that, that's useful. What else have we got? Yeah, you can change gimbal settings, but you'll probably want to use it a bit before you know that. The stick mode is quite useful. So in mode 2, you essentially this is what it comes default as. So this is actually moving around, and this is for sort of turning the drone and ascending up and descending. So you can change that to I won't do that, but you can change it to swap them the other way around, or you can customize it. You can do what you like with it, but mode 2 or that setup tends to be the one that comes with it. So we don't need to calibrate the controller. We've got obstacle avoidance on. You know, you can change the way Flight Assistant works if you want to. Max altitude, things like this are quite useful actually, because realistically the max altitude here is actually 120, so you know that's correct. The max distance, that's for sort of like VLOS, so visual line of sight, but you may want to set that if you're sort of a beginner and you don't want it to get too far away from you, so that's possible to do that. To be honest, the only other thing you can set you can set things like the return to home. You can set a return to home like on certain battery levels and things like that. But the main thing here really was to just get the drone set up and get ready to go. Probably one of the best things you can do, like once you've got this set up now, is you could go in and you could actually check out things like the flight school and stuff that they have in here, like the tutorials. So you can come up to actually, I think that's going to go to the oh yeah, here we go. I think that's going to go up to just the product info. But yeah, you can go in here and you can go to the like the tutorials about it, and you know there's loads of stuff everywhere for this kind of thing. So just make sure you sort of read up before you do your first flights. But yeah, hopefully that's been helpful, and you know you've got your drone ready, set up, ready to go. And yeah, if you like the video, please give it a like. If you want to see more content like this, then please subscribe. Just to add to that as well, one thing I didn't mention was that you'll probably want to get your SD card added to the drone as well. So you can add that when you buy it with most of them. You can have an additional bundle where you'll get like a card included. But if you haven't, what you'll need is a like a V30 microSD card. They don't technically have to be an A2 spec, actually. Some A1s are supported, but yeah, basically one of these cards, I'll link below to the ones that they accept, but these SanDisk Extremes or Extreme Pros, they're all on the list. So the way it works, it doesn't go in upright, it goes in the other way up. You'll find if you try and put it in upright, it will just kind of go off to the side and not really work. So if you put it in upside down, and then you would need to just use sort of like the top of your nail and just push it in, and it should click. Sorry, I haven't got enough nail to put it into the thing. There we go. And then it clicks, and then when you want it back, you have to try and feed your nail into there and get it back. It's slightly awkward, but sort of works. There you go, and that's sort of how you do it. I just thought I better add that just in case you sort of get up into the air, start trying to record, and then all you've got is like a tiny bit of internal memory and nothing to actually record with. So yeah. So it's worth mentioning as well, once you've put your SD card in, or your micro SD card, you'll probably want to quickly check that you're using the right storage as well, because by default it uses internal storage, and you can see this by you know, if we're in the photo mode, you can see we've got 350 odd pictures there, so just under. If you're in the recording mode, you can see we've only got 1 minute 28 of video, and I've not got a huge card in there, 64 gig, but you know, there's more than 1.5 minutes of video available. So if you click on this bit here, you can see that it's because it's trying to use the internal storage, which is slightly confusing because it uses the icon of an SD card, which is a bit strange. But If you slide this out, you can also go to the camera menu in here and come down to the bottom, and you can, at a glance, you'll be able to see which one you're using. But yeah, if you click on there, click to that. Sorry, I think I missed it. And then you can see now we've got an hour 16 there. We jump into photos. We should, yeah, we've got 9999 plus. So you know, over well over is that, yeah, 10,000 images there. Yeah, so we're yeah, we've got plenty of shots there. So yeah, it's just worth knowing that. And next to that as well, just to go one step further, you know, just to check you've got enough storage to do what you want, you can click on the resolution and FPS and quickly go into it. So 4K 50 is what I use, and I can quickly jump in and know how much I've got on there. So that's a really useful thing just to know before you fly.